Hello, beautiful sisters. Happy Sunday, or whenever you're watching this. Not happy day, but just whatever day you need it to be. Because if you're not happy, I don't want you to feel shame. So some of you are new in this group, and some of you have been in here for a while. Like those of you who already know me, good to see you again. And then those of you who are new and are just joining in here. My name is Diane Kaiser. I'm the creator of this group, and I am a female with boobs. Well, I've got implants, and I'm on the process of getting them removed and explanted. I created this group so I could share my journey with all of you and share. I probably think that there's a lot more of what not to do. And I'm sharing these things of what I've been doing and what isn't working and what's driving me crazy and like wanting me to pull my hair, even though I feel like there's not much left of it because of all of the breast implant illness symptoms I have. Hi, Christy. Hi, Allison. Good to see you, ladies. I'd love to hear more about you. You know, I'm trying to build this group out of camaraderie and sisterhood instead of paranoia and fear and shame, you know, all of that. I want you to all feel inspired and empowered and informed. Because this whole process is already, you know, frightening enough, and we already are living in this guilt of I shouldn't have done this. But I'm about you know, my perspective as a holistic health coach, and I've actually created many programs to help women around this stuff, you know, like how to get through shame, how to get through guilt, how to get through fear, how to just like stop listening to this like devil inside of us and all these crazy ego voices. Is that I made an agreement with myself to not get my implants removed until they taught me the lesson that I got them to teach me. And for me, that was an extreme radical journey back to self-love. So hi, Julie, good to see you, sister. So if you're watching this, and if you guys are, you know, whatever path, whatever place that you're on your journey, this is a beautiful invitation for all of us to come together through our pain and suffering and link arms and raise our wings up and fly, which is, and the acronym to me is first love yourself. And so the invitation I always have to you, sisters, whenever I do these videos in here, is to do the mirror exercise. You know, get naked in the presence of yourself and look yourself right in the mirror. Not dead in the mirror, dead in the eyes, alive in the eyes. Look yourself alive in the eyes in the mirror and just have a conversation with yourself. And what am I feeling about me right now? And let it be authentic, let it flow, and really work to find the good in you. You know, pick 3 things every day. And as hard as that might be, I know, it takes a while. It took me about 3 years of really being on this path of self-love to really feel it deep down. And it was me getting super sick with these implants that really pushed me over the edge. And I just went, I'm sorry, body, that I ever did this to you and thought that you weren't enough. I'm sorry that you know, I put implants in you because I thought it was the thing that I needed to do to earn my pro card as a bikini competitor. You know, all these things that we do to fit it into matter, and the research that I'm doing on, you know, what a man or what a significant other would think as hot versus beautiful are 2 different things. And so implants we get because we think that it's going to boost our confidence. And oftentimes, a lot of the males that I've been surveying, they're like, we just want a woman who embodies her beauty. You know, whether or not she has implants doesn't matter to me, but we just want a woman to feel good in her own skin. And for some of us, we needed these implants to feel better and more confident in our own skin as a bridge to get us to the other side. You know, like I feel like I'm more confident now than ever. And hey, you know, thank you, breasts, you've served a purpose. So anyway, I always like to start with those little nuggets of self-love and among our sisterhood here. And the other thing here, so I'd love to hear your guys' feedback on that, because that's what's lacking in this industry the most. Is a lot of fear and frustration, but not a lot of slowing down and surrendering and really talking to self and our heart, which is behind these implants, and asking our body what it's trying to say. You know, speaking to the beautiful inner child, the little beautiful girl inside you that just wants to be loved and seen. So this is our invitation to connect with ourselves. So anyway, let me get to the question now. Also, I don't know if you guys know, there's not in the file section in this group. There's tons of stuff. I gave you guys all of the freebies that I've been writing over the years and have been giving to only the women in our groups I have a program called the Warrior Cleanse. It's like $50, and you can like buy recipes from there and do the recipes and live this way for the rest of your life. It's largely transformative. It's not just like a 7-day juice fast or whatever. But that's a really fun solution for you guys if you want like more of like done for you things. And then we also have a Chi Hormone Warrior Transformation, where we work with women, like we're basically an online health clinic, where we've got a lot of energetic healers, lab, functional medicine lab specialists, and myself, and I'm a holistic health coach, among other things. And I'm going through what you guys are going through. So a lot of the stuff in the file section that I added there for free to you guys is like, especially the lymph one, is stuff that normally women only get access to working with me one-on-one, but my heart is out to all of you because I've seen how much pain we're all going through. So look at that lymph one. It's intense. It's awesome. And then watch my morning routine to give you guys some ideas of how you can start your morning, because if you want to own your day, own your morning and be super protective of that morning like it's your baby, like you're caring for it and you're present with it, and no one messes with your morning. I say, no one messes with Mama Bear. No one messes with Mama Bear's morning, right? So this is how we can come back to our center and get our energy back and get back into our hearts. Hi, Janelle. Good to see you, sister. So anyway, look in the file section of this group. Highly encourage that. Highly recommend that. Download as much as you guys would like. If you guys want to go a little bit deeper, do the Warrior Cleanse. It's like I said, $50 on my website, dianekaiser.com. Or if you ever want to work with me and like learn what labs and who and where and want to like simplify it, then we also have a program for that too. We have another couple women who have gone through what you've gone through that like just know this stuff in and out, like the detox and what order you do it, which tests that you do, because I'm so sorry to say this, and I'm sure many of you guys get it. Our medical system is fucked. It is like, if I were to judge, it's like the 12-year-old ditzy blonde. And that's not to offend anybody who's nurses and everything in here. Our medical system is amazing at acute care. If something urgent were happening to you and you need to go to the ER, but it is awful at chronic illness. And 95% of the reason why people go to the hospital is because of chronic illness. There are no answers for us in Western medicine whatsoever. Blood tests are helpful, but they're going to give you a drug. They're going to do some sort of a surgery or procedure. And the reason I say it like this is they're not going to get to the root cause of why you're suffering. And so many of you guys have already gotten that. You're on the revolving door of going to doctor to practitioner and getting referrals and thinking that this next person's going to have the answer. The next person's going to have the answer. Yeah, that's the next person's going to have the lab. And as a practitioner myself, and I've been doing this for 8 years, they don't have the answers. They can tell you some things like, yeah, your homocysteine's high, your inflammation's high, and these days they're able to tell you if you have MTHFR, which is a genetic SNP, a mutation that could impair your body's ability to detox. It doesn't mean it's gonna suck. Your genes only express themselves negatively or positively based on the internal and external environment in which you put your body in, right? So we all know our internal environment sucks because we put these big toxic bags inside of us, right? So I'm double homozygous for MTHFR, and that is something that impairs my ability to detox. If I am acting out and I'm not treating my body very well, I can feel that starting to play out. So your doctor can maybe look at MTHFR, but we look at hundreds of genes instead of just that. And your genes do not dictate your destiny. Your lifestyle will trump your genes. It's called epigenetics. So anyway, you're asking a lot of questions about, and they're great questions, what kind of labs do I get? What doctor do I go to? And unfortunately, short of looking at vitamin D and iron, and I've seen, other things too, standard CBC panel, and even the hormones, they don't look deep. They look at like superficial. They're going to give you the total of hormones instead of the ones that are free and available for your body to use. Like it's a total shit show. And I swear in passion, so you guys can laugh a little bit too, is I've seen so many labs over the years, and I've seen many people who are just like pinballing between doctors, and it's frustrating. And the longer that you have to go through that, the sicker that you get, the more frustrating and impatient you get. And I've seen people die over that, and that sucks because that's what we think is our only option, right? So I want to share all of this with you because, and then even like the labs that they do see, you know, they do test vitamin D or iron or ferritin or whatever, you could be totally like almost borderline out of being in range, and they're like, yeah, well, you're still in range, you know, like it's crazy. Like if I see a lot of women, especially with implants, who have super low ferritin, their hair's falling out like crazy. Maybe their iron looks okay, but their ferritin, which is the iron storage hormone, is super low. And doctors won't say anything. Like my ferritin was really low. And that's when your hair starts falling out and you don't know why, or it doesn't grow back very thick. So like ferritin is like the low end is like 20. And mine was like 30. And the doctor, they don't say anything. The high end is like 200. So you see how low, like dangerously low. So the whole idea of working with like a functional medicine person is that we're looking at optimal ranges, not just like these wide ranges that, by the way, these labs have created these wide range, these huge ranges based on the most common people that go to the hospital, which are sick people and older people. So anyway, you're not going to get much there. You know, people keep asking me questions about like labs and stuff. You're just not going to get it there. I mean, unless you want a pill, I mean, you're not going to discover the root cause ever because they're just not trained to. And I'm not dogging, you know, doctors, but Western medicine is primarily creating customers out of us, and their goal is profit and prescriptions, but not healing and health. So we have to know who to go to for what, right? Like, when you were younger, you knew your mom was probably going to say no, so you didn't go to her when you wanted something. You'd go to your dad and say, hey, Dad, can I have this? Not for all of us. But you know what I mean? Knowing who to go to and being realistic with the expectation, which is not really a good word, but you know what I mean? Like with what you can hope that you will likely receive from that person is how we stay sane and how we also can recover our health here. So I'm curious when you guys listen to this later on if you can post your distinctions on this video, because those are really important. That'll save you 10 years of suffering thinking that Western medicine has the answers. It doesn't. So which means that we're all at this point going to have to pay out of pocket to optimize our care. But over the long term, it'll save you a lot of money because your health is better and you're not going to likely have to spend as much money down the road, which will probably not be covered by insurance down the road. On illness. Illness is very expensive. You know, these breast procedures, people are getting bills for like $10,000 for being in the hospital for like 1 to 2 hours. I want to clear that up because it's not happening to everybody. But point is that insurance, the hospitals, the doctors, they can just charge whatever they want. It's not like going to buy a car where that you see a sticker and that's it, you know. Even then there's some hidden stuff. But, you know, it's not transparent. So it's very scary to go through this process because you're not sure what expenses are going to come, you know, now or later. So I'll give you the quick 5-minute version of this so that you guys can, and I'll make a note here. Let's see how long have I been talking? I don't know, I can't see the time. But anyway, someone asked a question, and Christine is one of my friends. She asked the question, can you give me a price range of what your explant surgery with the fat replacement is costing you out of your pocket? Okay, so here's the answer. I went through and I've seen over 10 doctors to make this decision, or talk to them over the phone. I've talked to Urzola in Costa Rica. I talked to Dr. Chun in Newport Beach. I live in Orange County, which is Newport Beach, so I'm lucky I've got some really great doctors here. But this was Dr. Chun's quote right here, and I wrote a ton of notes on it. He does not accept any insurance whatsoever and is booking all the way out until 2020. So unless you want to wait that long. I'm not doing well. I've got like rashes on my armpits, and I'm scheduled for May 31st with Dr. Strawn. But I'll tell you guys a little bit more about that later because now we're working with insurance issues. So this was another one I looked at working with Dr. Malavi at one point too in Newport Beach, and he does work through insurance. But I put all kinds of notes on here too. So I'll read to you guys what the cost of these. So I have 3 quotes in front of me, and then the other ones I just wrote down. But in general, you're looking at, you know, explant surgery being anywhere between like $5,000 to like $10,000 if you pay out of pocket. If you go through insurance, like with mine is Blue Shield, I'm responsible for 15% if I work with a doctor in network. And so this is the ambiguity, is the 15% is based on a lot of different things. It's based on acupuncturists. It's based on the time that you're in the hospital and in the operating room. And then it's based on the doctor's fee, right? So the doctor's fee is pretty much like the same. Anesthesiologist is pretty much the same. But the thing that's a variable is the operating room expense and what the hospital may later on charge you. And if the procedure goes longer than what the quote was, like if they say, hey, it's gonna be like 2 hours, which is about standard for Explant, and en bloc, which is the capsule around the implant, absolutely wanna make sure that the doctor knows what they're doing with that. You don't wanna work with an inexperienced doctor there whatsoever. So this is very, very important. Look for their pictures on Yelp. You know that they've got pictures and maybe even videos too of the implant as well as the en bloc, which is the capsule around it, being removed, commenting on it, seeing Yelp reviews, looking online. Don't trust everything that you see online. There's a lot of like manipulation of reviews and stuff that are out there. And then sometimes on certain websites, you'll see people who are like, yeah, this is a great doctor, and they just might have some ties with that doctor. Do you know what I mean? So I don't have any ties to any doctor whatsoever. I'm just sharing with you my experience and what my intuition, which I encourage all of you to listen to your intuition. Go with your gut. You have a gut feeling for a reason. Society has dumbed us down and told us, don't listen to your gut. You don't know better. We do. And that tide is turning now. Thank God. Our unicorn horn is our intuition, right? Your third eye right here. You can feel this. You can sense it, you know? That person feels like a good doctor, or this just doesn't feel right, or this feels shady, or like, how come this person's not calling me back, or I've emailed 3 times. These are all red flags, you know, and listen to them. Don't keep persisting. This is a sign from the universe or God that it's time to move on. And this is what happened with me when I explored all these different doctors. And I've talked to doctors in Northern California. I've talked to doctors on the other side of the United States. I've talked to doctors outside of the country. So bottom line is this. When I talked to Dr. Chen back then, this was like last November or so, the total capsulectomy with implant removal was $8,000. And then the bilateral mastopexy, which is the lift, breast lift, was $5,000. So it was $13,000 out of pocket. And then it would have been like another like $500 for lab testing, you know, to send in the implant capsule to get it tested to see if there's any kind of like strange infections going on in there or whatever. That would have costed me money out of pocket, $300 between $3,000. None of that stuff's covered by insurance if you work with him. And then also paying for like medications, which is typically like a few $100s. So the whole thing would have been like $13,500 or so. I live in Newport or Orange County, so I could have stayed at my house and just had like family come and support me. So this is an out-of-pocket example. This is someone who does not take insurance at all. I know he's scheduling out until like spring of 2020, and his fees have increased, I think, from the last time I saw him, from like 13,000 to like 15,000. He's a very popular doctor, and as such, he's raising his fees and he's not as available. So it's time for all of us to really consider someone who's more available for us, especially if you're not feeling well and you really want to get these suckers out, you know? So here's another one. This one was Dr. Malavi, and I'm not talking badly about any of these doctors, might I add. This is just my intuition of what I've been using, and you have to use your own, you know? So Dr. Malavi, I went and saw him, and he's in Newport as well. I was gonna get, at first I considered working with him and then doing it through my insurance, which would have cost me like 15% of all the costs based on the numbers that I worked out, which is right here. Look at this thing. You know, like I had to call and ask like the cost of anesthesia, and it was like $14.40 for a couple hours, and my fee would have been 15%. And then like here's the contracted amount for like the hospital, $5,500 or so. And then it was like the doctor fee was, I don't know, somewhere like I added it down here. Facility fee was a 15% of the amount I showed you up there. The anesthesiologist is 15% of that $14.40, and then the doctor is 15% of whatever his fee would have been, $800. So it would have been like $1,850-ish, but it's like, it's ambiguous because some of them say You also have to meet a deductible of $650. So I just said, okay, it'll probably cost me anywhere between like $1,500 to $2,000 if I did it through my insurance and just did explant and end block removal, okay? So you could totally do that through insurance if they approve you. So here's the thing. Dr. Malavi sent this in. He sent in a request for me to get my implants removed and covered by insurance. And he wrote that I had a stage 4 capsular contracture. That could have really bit me in the ass if I went with that. They approved it. But if you're working with a doctor that is a little bit ambiguous with what they send, the information that they send in to get you approved, but yet you end up not having a capsular contracture when they open you up, you will be the person that has to pay for all of that. And the insurance will be like, yeah, no, we're not going to cover you. Because there wasn't that, but the doctor said there was. And so just because they approve you before you go in for your surgery does not mean that they're going to cover you. So this is where you really want to have a good insurance person on hand, and you want to work with the people at your insurance department and a good doctor who really understands this because their staff gets it. So can't stress that enough. Can't stress that enough. You want a good team along with a good doctor. The good team will fight for you in your insurance if they're someone who accepts insurance. The good doctor is someone who knows how to look inside of you and like pull out all the scar tissue, all the stuff that leaks down into like our ribs and our heart, and behind our implants and up into the armpits. They got to know how to go in there and really drudge the stuff out of us so it doesn't stay infected inside of us when they remove the implants. Okay, so that's that part. Now, if I did go with Malavi, his total fee, it was like I said, it was just end block removal with like the capsule. It would have been about, I don't know, $2,000 after insurance, if insurance did cover it, right? If they didn't, it's typically going to be like $5,000 or $6,000 without insurance. Okay. Dr. Chun's was $8,000. That's the other one I was just telling you about, just to have the capsulectomy with the implant removed. Now, a lot of them offer lifts. Like the lift I said with Chun, the lift was $5,000 plus the $8,000 for removal, and that would have been total of $13,000. No fat transfer. He doesn't do fat transfer really at that much from what I've heard. Or has, like, in some people I've heard they felt a little shamey from him, like the way that they talked to him. I can't say from my experience because I thought he was great when I was in there. I think he was just neutral. I wasn't like, oh man, I had a great connection with him, but he was just neutral, and his staff seemed very helpful. You know, to each their own, right? You got to make your decision. So that's $13,000 without fat transfer, Chun, but his prices have gone up. He's not available till 2020. Malavi, which is Newport Beach, it would have been, the breast lift would have been $7,800 plus whatever my insurance, you know, cost for the implant removal and end block, which would have been like $2,000. So the whole process would have been like $9,800 or so. And then if I did fat grafting and stuff, the whole process would have been about $13,000 plus what I would have paid for insurance, which is about $2,000. So that would have been like a $15,000 thing. So that would have been fat transfer, lift, and then removal. And then Dr. Strawn is very similar to, and he's in Newport Beach, and he's very similar to Malavi, where it's like, if insurance approves it, which Sheena, who's at the front desk there, is working with me on this because they declined it, even though Malavi sent his request in and they approved it, but that's because you said capsular contraction 4, likely because it's more urgent, but I may have not gotten covered. So you gotta know this stuff, really know this stuff. And we have a woman in this group that I can tag if you guys really want some support with insurance, and especially with breast implant removal. So then, yeah, what's happening now is Sheena didn't put in their like capsular contraction 4 because they don't know if I have it. So then insurance denied it. So now she's on the phone with them, and she's scheduling an appointment with Dr. Strawn as well as the insurance company to have a conversation to see if they'll approve it because they approved it before. So we'll see what happens. If I don't get approved, then working with Dr. Strawn to do fat grafting, lift, and the implant removal with the end block would be something like $16,000. So, but if I just did, you know, the implant removal, it's something like $6,000 or $7,000 or something. And then like to do the lift with the implant removal, it's like $12,000. So that's what you can expect to pay for a good doctor. Now, I have also heard of other doctors like in Northern California that they do it for like $5,000 to do the implant removal, as well as the end block, as well as the lift. And one of my friends who was inspired to do this because of her following my journey, she's doing this in Florida, and she's doing it for like $5,500 or something like that for the implant removal, end block, and lift. So but I don't know the qualifications of this doctor. So I do know you'll pay a little bit more to have better doctors who have a better track record, and who will better take care of you and call you on the phone and things like that. So if I end up not using Dr. Strawn because my insurance doesn't cover it, then I may go to Costa Rica with Dr. Urzola, and many women go to him, and they are paying about $8,000, a little bit shy of $8,000 for the end block removal, as well as the capsule removal, so the whole thing. He really knows his stuff, and he does the videos, and it's like out of America, so the regulations are a lot different. So you can actually get a whole video from him of all the stuff that comes out of you, pictures and things. And it's a little bit different there as far as sending it in the lab than in America. Of course, insurance won't cover that because insurance won't cover anything outside of America. And yeah, and then he doesn't really do fat transfer according to what I hear. And if you're wondering what fat transfer is, I apologize, I should have told you what that is that they take pockets of fat in areas of your body, and like say, this is the cool thing about doing this, right? You actually can get liposuction done, where if you're like, yeah, I don't like my back fat, or I don't like my belly fat, or I don't like my inner thigh fat, which is typically the areas that they take, or your outer thigh or your glutes. They take fat from those areas and they will put it into your breasts. And a lot of women end up as a B or a C. I mean, most of the time it'll be like, if you were an A before, you'll be like a B. If you were a B before, you'll be like closer to a C. But they can't, and nor do I encourage you to be any larger than like what your natural frame was, because otherwise we're looking at more back problems and continued rolled shoulders forward, and our head goes forward. It makes our head like, 10 times heavier than it would be if we just sat up straight. And we need this, we need our spine straight so that our nervous system can communicate gut up to the brain. I mean, it's so important to have good posture. So, a lot of us are like this. So doing a fat transfer is great. Just, it might increase your size by like 1. If you were an insecure A cup, then, maybe you could have a B and do fat transfer, and you can get some liposuction, little trim waist. Okay, great. So you can do that, but not Urzola and Costa Rica. I don't think he's doing those anymore. I'm still on the fence whether or not I want to do a fat transfer, because if you do a fat transfer, the controversy is like, does your body end up just sucking the fat back in and you won't have any breasts left? I've heard more people say that they've actually had good results and it stuck and it stayed, and then the fat stayed off. Then I've heard the other way around. So some people, what they do is they break up the procedures because of that consideration. They like just do the removal, like the end block removal and the implant removal, and maybe the lift at that point, but then they don't do the fat transfer later on. Hey, I like all the lights and the hearts and all. I don't know who's doing that, but I just saw these likes and hearts and happy faces. So yeah, so it's pretty cool. I mean, look at like all the great technology in exchange for us getting these toxic bags out of us. Like, we still get to kind of sculpt our body if we want to. But I think, self-love and radical body acceptance is like even better than that possibly. So, but to be honest, I may be doing fat transfer. I don't know yet. It depends on which doctor I end up using. If I have to fly to go see Urzola, he does have openings for like a month. You don't have to wait super long, because Dr. Strawn's wait list, I think at this point, is till September. And that's the one I'm using in Newport. My surgery will be May 31st, as long as my insurance approves it and I go with my gut on that. And then I'll probably end up paying like about, I don't know, $1,500 or so, like I said, for the removal of the implants after my insurance pays for the rest. And then I'll pay another, like, I think it's like $12,500 for the fat transfer and the lift. So it'll end up being something like $13,500 total, right? Or $16,000 out of pocket if my insurance didn't approve it, but I don't know if I'm going to end up spending that much. I'd possibly rather go to Costa Rica, have Dr. Urzola do it for about half the price, not do the fat transfer, just do the implant removal and the lift and the end block, and then call it good. I don't really have a lot of fat anyway. But like I was saying earlier, some women do them in separate. Like if I did go to Costa Rica, I would not do them in separate. I just make one trip. I go to Costa Rica all the time because I lead retreats down there. So I'm like, hey, it's like my second home anyway. I already have a passport. And if you do, and if you're cool with international travel, great. They have places there, facilities that you could spend like $100 a day. And it covers your food, all your food, most of your expenses. There's a nurse there that will check on you because you have these little things that are leaking out. So it's not that much. It's like pretty cheap to stay down there in San Jose is where you fly in. So typically people stay there for like 5 days or 7 days after, and then you're mobile and you can take off. So maybe factor in another $1,000, for like expenses to stay there and eat, and then, flying there and stuff. But I fly there free because I have Southwest Rapid Rewards and I have tons of points. And I can fly free. I have an extra person I can take with me. So probably if I do go to Costa Rica, I will fly down there. And then with my miles, and then I will get a free travel companion because I have that, because I spend so much damn money in my business on my credit card account, which is my, Southwest Airlines card. So if you guys have stuff like that, cool. But most people are spending about $10,000 to work with Urzola down in San Jose and Costa Rica. And that includes like the flight, that includes the stay, that includes the surgery. And you might get hyperbaric chamber like treatments down there for like $100 each, but I'm not going to talk about all that because that's a whole other separate issue. And that's also, by the way, again, what this group is all about is like, what detox strategies would be the best for you before and after? How can you get your body ready? How can you nourish your body? How can you self-love and slow down? And how can you clean up like the products that you're putting in your skin and on your hair and in your environment? 95% of the toxins that we're exposed to are in our own home, outside of the boobs part, So there's so much of our lives that we have to clean up together. And that's what I hope to inspire and empower you to all do in here. But like I said, let me know if you guys have any questions about all of that beyond, what doctor to use, how much things will cost. We have tons of resources and tons of amazing people in here that are here to help you. I wasn't online here for like a week this last week, so I apologize, and I don't think that that's really necessary, but I want to be a model for you guys that you don't have to be on Facebook every single day to please everybody and take care of everybody. If you guys have not yet followed me on Facebook, you can follow me at Diane Kaiser Wellness. You'll see a post I shared today about this. The women who feel like they need to care for everybody else and take care of everybody else's needs and be a caregiver are the ones that die soonest and suffer the most. So this is time, it's a great time for us to learn how to be selfish, to slow down and not feel like we need to go take care of everybody out there, because you don't need to sell your soul in order to matter. The thing that you came here for is to learn how to take care of yourself, learn who you are, and how to express your greatest gifts out in the world. But as long as you're going out and taking care of everybody else, you're going to wear yourself down, and you guys don't have enough energy for that right now. So that's what this group is all about. So that's why I didn't feel pressure on myself to post in here every day, because I had 5 doctor's appointments this week. I had a breast MRI because I've been having butt lumps. I found a lot of lumps on my breasts, and I was like, okay, what is this? Are my implants ruptured? Is this cancer? What's going on, or is this just fibroids, cystic breasts, which is like super common, and 80% of women have them at some point. And I know what to do with them now, put some iodine on them, take some, DEM and things like that. I don't recommend that just to anybody. I have to make sure I'm looking at people's labs to understand what to recommend. But that's what I'm doing. And that's also a part of not being able to detox very well either. You start having estrogen backed up, and these things cause estrogen dominance. Anyway, so there's a lot to this, and I hope that I've empowered you and inspired you with this answer, that it's not straightforward. You do want to make sure that you really sit down and take the time to talk with doctors that know what they're doing. But I just gave you a few really great tips, and if you don't want to go too far and just like research some of the ones I talked about, and if you want, some of the names I talked to on the other 7 doctors in Northern California, I can also share this with you. I can also share with you my friends who are doing the surgery with the guy, a doctor in Florida. A couple of my friends are either living there or flying over there. So this is happening I've got lots of sisters in my group that are all going through this right now. And so this week I was just in the doctor's offices a lot, and my God, our hospital is just like unorganized, mostly unorganized. Lots of nice ladies this time, but like really unorganized. Mammograms, by the way, are not a good measure to check your breast health. It's a good marketing hype, and they make a lot of money from it, but it actually is known to cause like a stage 0 cancer. If there wasn't cancer there, it will amplify cancer cells, and it smashes your boobs and ruptures implants. And they can't see like by 55% of, it's like I can't remember the number. It's like 55% less effective or something. They can't see like 55% of the tissue or something. I can't remember the stat. But yeah, so I would highly recommend against those as well. I had the first thing I did was I went and had can't think of the word right now. What's it called? Brain fart. Anyway, where they go in and ultrasound. And then I did an MRI 3 weeks later to look to see what these are. And so now that I know that they're very painful, they hurt, I'll take care of them. I know what to do with them now that I know that they're, by deductive reasoning, if it's not cancer and the implants have not ruptured, it's probably fibrocystic breasts, which many, 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 many women have. So I can help out with that. Just let me know. But I think I covered it all. So I'm totally curious to hear your thoughts, and I'm curious to hear what you guys are needing more support with. And let's just keep rocking with this tribe and this group, and keep feeling free to invite your sisters in here that need to hear this stuff. But I want this group to also plant the seeds that even after you get these implants removed, this is also like a beyond. You know, this is also a tribe where we can talk more about beyond, like beyond the boobs, beyond the implants, like what happens to your life after you get these implants removed, who you become. What kind of like nourishing does your body need? Because every single one of us at this point has a destroyed gut, like a leaky gut, you know, all these toxins. It's just inevitable. And plus the life that we live in today with a lot of stress and all the foods and chemicals that we inhale. So it doesn't just heal itself. Just because you get implants out doesn't mean your body just like all of a sudden is, you know, heals itself and everything goes back to normal. It needs some help and some love for a few months to detoxify, to rebuild, to nourish, to balance, and to get a good routine and move from there. So that's what I'm here for. DianeKaiser.com. You guys have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me in here, or you can email me at DianeKaiser.com and just see what it is that I do. And if there's anything that I can do that you would like support with, you know, we've got a couple different ways that we help you guys. It could be stuff that you just do on your own, or if you want some more hand holding, as long as you reach your hand out, I'll meet you halfway, you know. And we really help women who really want to help themselves, but we're not going to, you know, fix you. We just give you the guidance, and then you do the steps on your own. So, but lots of clarity, lots of answers, and that feels really good instead of just like going through this treadmill of, I don't know, labs, breast implant illness doesn't exist. So have a beautiful rest of your Sunday. I look forward to hearing from all of you in this group. And Christine, I hope that answered your question. So if you need any follow-up, just let me know. Okay, great. Bye for now.